Hey guys, my name is Cyan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We all know that I love a little bit of a challenge in a video, or really any type of fun way to get me reading. So for this week, I decided that we are going to let a random letter generator pick either the author or the title of a book that I must read for the week. Why am I having trouble explaining this? I don't really know what the title is going to be, but basically I love a pinwheel. We all know it. I've used it in so many videos for things. So I have a pinwheel on my phone with all of the letters of the alphabet, and we're going to spin the wheel and see what letter we get and then pick a book either with that title or that author. There you go. I explained it again. So let's go ahead and see what the first letter is going to be. Okay, so I did end up getting the letter P. I don't have anything off the top of my mind that I want to read, so let me save you the struggle of having to go through books with me, and I'm going to pick one out on my own, and then you guys will see what it is, and we'll talk about it, of course. Okay, so I am at the 50% of the way mark in Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. This was our choice, as you guys saw. Obviously, we got the letter P, and I decided to choose the author because I have just heard so much about this book, and I was really excited to get into it, so I wanted to go ahead and start it. In this book, we are following DM. She is immortal, and she lives in a world where there are what is called the Descended. They are basically like children of gods, and they all have powers. The Descended do. They are, of course, you know, in castles. They're high ranking, and then the mortals are kind of living in squalor, shall I say. So she's immortal, and she's also a healer, and her mother ends up disappearing, so now she is going to go and work at the castle as a healer and taking her mother's place, because that's what her mom used to do, was work as a healer for the king, who is very sick. So now she's going to take her mom's place, and at the same time, one of her friends introduces her to a rebellion group. So she's basically going to be like a spy while working in the castle for this rebellion group, and obviously nothing can go good when that happens. But there's also another character in here, Luther. He is the king's heir, so if the king does end up passing away, the crown chooses the most powerful descendant to then go to, and everyone is pretty sure that it's going to be Luther. And he's also keeping his eye on DM while she's working in the castle, so you can definitely feel some tension there. It's definitely feeling like enemies to lovers and potentially a love triangle, but I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's really good. The pacing is fine for me. I'm enjoying where I'm at and everything that's happening in here, and I don't love our characters, but I also don't really find anything wrong with them. It's just like your classic, typical, pretty well done fantasy, if I do say so myself. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading though, because I am super happy that I'm reading this and excited to get back into it. This morning I was able to finish up Spark of the Everflame, and this was really good in my opinion. There was like a grand reveal towards the end, or actually no, the very end, the last page, there was a grand reveal, and I was pretty much able to guess what this was going to be very early on. It alludes to the fact that there's something else going on that DM might not know, but like we as a reader know what it is. But I really enjoyed my time with this, and of course after I finish it, I start seeing on my For You page all these like negative reviews of people saying that they didn't like it because the main character was very whiny. I didn't feel that way. I also saw people say that like she knew the right thing to do but just never did it. I didn't feel that way, but those people might be like deeper into the series and that's why they felt that way. In this one, I didn't at all. I enjoyed my time with it. I felt like it was really well paced and the writing was very digestible, and I just think that I'm going to fall in love with this series. If I wasn't filming this video, I would honestly totally jump right into the second book, but I am filming this video so I can't do that. But this one I'm going to give a 4 stars just because it didn't totally blow me out of the water, but it was still really good in my opinion. So there's that one. And now let's see what our second book is going to be. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm kind of still in a fantasy mood, so hopefully we can get one with like a letter from a fantasy. Okay, so we got the letter A. Once again, can't think of anything off the top of my mind. Actually, my mind is telling me Book of Azrael or Azrael, whatever, because I've seen so many people talking about that recently, and I think it's on my TBR this month. So my brain is saying that one, but technically it doesn't start with an A. It's just that that's like the main name of it, you know, so that's what sticks out to me. But, let's go take a look. Okay, everyone, I have made it 50% of the way through the Book of Azrael. I know I talked about wanting to pick this because we got the letter A, and I wasn't sure if it would be cheating since technically this book does not start with an A, but the author's name is Amber V. Nicole. So we went with an author again instead of a title, but I'm so glad I got to start reading this. In this one, we are following Diana. First of all, I don't know what she is. There's like a name for it, but think of like a vampire that can also shapeshift, and she has fire magic. Yeah, interesting. But she is working for this really bad guy who is the guy that ended up turning her into what she is. So she's been working with him for a long time in order to protect her sister, and they are trying to find the Book of Azrael, which is apparently a very important book because it has all the answers to kill this very powerful god, and his name is Liam. We are also getting Liam's point of view in this book because at some point Diana, she is teaming up with Liam. So that is what we're seeing. Now they are teaming up together. It's another enemies to lovers, which honestly I just can never get enough of that in a fantasy book anyways, so I am enjoying it. And this world is pretty complex, like the whole gods, the creatures, everything, and it is described as like a dark fantasy romance, or at least that's what I've seen people call it, but honestly it doesn't feel that dark to me. It feels like any other fantasy. I also assume for some reason in my mind whenever someone says it's a dark fantasy romance that there's going to be a lot of smut and that the smut is going to overtake the plot, but actually there has not been any so far. Like sometimes they have some thoughts about one another and that kind of line, but between the actual two characters there isn't anything that's happening, and the plot is plotting, you know? There is a very strong plot in this book of them trying to find this book, the journeys that they're going on, all the different creatures in the world. It's just very interesting so far. The only complaint that I have, and this is minor, is that I don't like the font size and spacing. Like, look at that. That's just a lot of words. I know that the font is big, but like the sentences just, I don't know, it feels close in my opinion. And that's like the only one itty bitty nitpicky thing, but this is on Kindle Unlimited, so like I could read it on my Kindle if I wanted to. But I am enjoying the story. I like our characters. Diana is very much a strong female lead character. And Liam has like these funny little quirks about him. Like he doesn't really understand slang terms and lingo. Like at one point she calls him a dick and he's like, I hope you're not actually referring to me being male genitalia. So like it's funny, you know? He's almost like that robot character that has to like learn human things as he goes on. Is anyone getting what I'm saying? Probably not, because sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying, but I like their dynamic and it's going good so far, and I'm excited to see them develop more feelings and get to know each other. Because another big thing is that not only are they like enemies because of who she worked for before, but her creature, it's like called an igmoranthus, something, is actually like long running. Those creatures are supposed to be his mortal enemies. So like it's also got that forbiddenness to it, and I'm just eating it up. So far, so good. Finished the Book of Azrael, and this was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed this story. The tension between the two, the banter between the two, everything was good. This world is very complex, but at the end there's like a scene that just literally blew my mind because it was like her and Liam against the bad guy, and the way this book ended, my jaw met the floor, okay? Because it was such an unexpected twist. And ooh, this series is just gonna be good. I can already tell right now. I can't wait to continue it because it was just that good, you know? There's nothing else I can really say about it except that you should definitely read this book if you have not already. It was well worth it. And in my mind, I know I'm talking very highly of it, but it is just a 4-star, which is still like a really great rating. It just didn't have those 5-star feels. But it could be like somewhere between a 4, 4.5, who really knows? But I did really enjoy it. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about this one. Should we pick our next letter now? I think we should. Okay, we have an L. Honestly, nothing once again is popping into my mind automatically. This is like hard too because I have so many books on my TBR. I don't actually know what I have, so I'm gonna go upstairs and look at them and we'll be back. Okay, so this is a good sign because I am already 50% of the way through Play Along by Liz Tomford. Obviously, we went for an author again, Liz Tomford. In this one, we are following Isaiah and Kennedy. Isaiah is a baseball player and Kennedy is the athletic trainer. Now, in the other book, Caught Up, we do see Isaiah kind of fawn over Kennedy a little bit, and I just knew that this book was gonna eat, and so far, it is living up to my expectations. Isaiah is kind of like the playboy character. Kennedy has never really given him a chance before. She doesn't take him seriously, but one night they accidentally drunkenly get married, and now they have to keep this ploy going so that she doesn't lose her job. So they're married, fake marriage. Well, it's not fake because they really are married. I guess marriage of convenience, but I am eating up this romance. I just love it so much. Katie comes from a very rich family and they're all jerks, so it's a little microtrope that I love, but I love when someone's family is being so rude to them and then their partner puts their family in their place and like sticks up for them. Eat it up every single time, and I'm just liking their dynamic, especially because where I'm at now, Isaiah is just convinced like I'm gonna make this girl fall in love with me. She's already my wife, so check that off. And the fact that he's not whiny, because I have seen some of those like playboy characters where they'll just whine about the fact that the girl won't give him a chance even though he's a playboy. Like obviously I would hope most of us don't want to go after the playboy, but honestly I know I'm pretty wrong about that. But anyways, I love Isaiah's character. I like Kennedy too. Their banter is so good because they have known each other for years and they've always had this like back and forth with one another. It's good, okay? I'm enjoying it so far. It is reading like it might potentially be the best out of the series that I've read so far. So I'm hoping that we just keep going at this pace because I'm really enjoying it. I did finish Play Along in one day because it was just too good not to. The banter between these two is everything to me. I loved our characters. I love the sense of found family. I will say this one and Caught Up, their family relationship feels a lot closer because they're literally brothers, but also they just spend more time together. And then in the first two books, those two couples feel a lot closer, but you still are seeing all of them in here. I just prefer the second two books in the series. They have been my favorite so far. This one did slow down just a little bit. I kind of expected that because all of the books in the series have slowed down a little bit and dragged out for me, but it still did not take away from these two. I just love them together. They're one of those couples that will definitely never get divorced in my eyes. These two are growing old together, and it's just, there's so much that I love about it. Like literally you can see who the next book may be about, and I'm so excited for that. Side note, if you've read this series, Rio better get his own book. That man needs to find love. There's also like Monty Monty. I love Monty. I love that Isaiah and Kennedy, he calls her Kenny, which is so cute. Fun fact though, my first name is Hunter, but no one calls me that. Also, my social security number is, I'm just kidding, obviously. Don't know why I felt the need to mention that, but it's just like having a boyish first name, you know? Like, it was cute that he called her Kenny. Doesn't matter. Loved this book. Highly recommend. It is my favorite out of the series, and I think by far the best. I am going to give it 4.5 stars because, like I said, it did get a little bit boring. Didn't give me those 5-star feels, but I still was laughing and giggling and kicking my feet like a literal high schooler. So it was good. Give it a shot. And let's pick out our next letter because my camera battery is about to die. So that is fun. We got a K. We got a K. I already know who I'm choosing. I guess this whole video we're choosing authors because if you know, I've been obsessed with Kristen Hanna lately. So let's go and see. I only have 2 more books by her physically on me, but let's go see which one I want to read. I literally knew that this was going to happen, but it doesn't change it how sad it is. It's literally my biggest fear. Oh my gosh. Why does Kristen Hanna do this to me every time? So today I did finish The Night Road by Kristen Hanna. I decided to pick this book because I read the back of it and it just seemed really interesting to me when I was deciding what book to choose. But the main reason why I just read this whole book and didn't give you guys really any updates is because it is so hard to talk about this without spoiling it. I read the back of the book, like I said. Do not recommend doing that. I want you, if you're going to read this, to go into it blind. This one is not really historical. It is about a family from the early 2000s. We are following 2 characters, Jude and Lexi. Lexi is a young teenager when we first meet her. She is starting off high school at a new high school after bouncing around from different foster homes. So she doesn't have a good motherly figure in her life, but then through some of her friends, she meets Jude, and Jude is now like a mother figure to her. Then a tragedy strikes, and it is just like the saddest thing because Kristen Hanna includes things that literally are so real. Like, this tragedy happens a lot to people, and right now literally talking about it is making me want to cry. Like, it's just so sad. So definitely I would recommend going into this blind, and keep in mind it isn't really historical. It is more about a tragedy and how it affects a family, and even someone who wasn't really family, but she saw this person as a mother figure, and how it just like can tear family apart. Grief is a huge topic, so keep that in mind going into it as well. But it was really good and really sad. I'm going to stick at a 4.5 star because it didn't give me those 5-star feelings, but it still was just a really good story. I love the way Kristen Hanna writes, and she's just so good at putting emotions into words, and I'm just blown away. But like I said, do not read the back of this book because I was able to guess what was gonna happen. So like throughout all of this, I kept a tab. This is when like the tragedy actually happens, but throughout like all of this, I was literally so anxious anticipating when it was going to happen because I just knew it was coming. So don't read the back, okay? But I do really recommend this book. I loved it, and I'm just so excited to keep reading her books because every single one has been a hit for me. So those were my thoughts on this one, but that is it for this week's video. I feel like this one might be a little bit shorter because I didn't talk much about this one, but let's go through and do a little wrap up. I have all of them here. Wow, now that I'm looking at them, this was a really good week. And another thing that I noticed is I did stick with all authors. So we have Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole because we got a P. This one is a fantasy romance. It was really good. It's just your basic like tropes that I have seen before, but it was done in a way where I wasn't bored, and even though I have seen it happen before, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave this one 4 stars. Then I read Book of Azrael. This world is like nothing I've read before. It's really interesting and pretty complex, but I love our main character. She really made it for me. I love a strong, dominant female main character, and the fact that he was a god and they had to go on this journey together even though they are literally mortal enemies. Eat it up every time. Ate it up in this one. Also gave this one a 4 stars. And then I read Play Along. Loved the banter. Everything about this book was just really good. Did get a little bit slow at parts, but honestly it was still worth the read, and I gave this one 4.5. And then, as I just talked about, Kristen Hanna literally broke my heart, but I really enjoyed this book. Another 4.5 stars. Highly recommend if you want to be sad and cry. Don't know why you would want that, but I don't know your life. You might want it. Those are all the books. We had a really great reading week. Let me know what you guys thought if you read any of these books. I hope everyone has a good reading week going forward. I want all of you to find books that you love as well. And I hope you all just have a really great rest of your week in general. But that is it from me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!